Hello, everybody. Welcome back to In My Feels for a very special roundtable that we have going on today. My name is Emily Haydel.
I'm JRE.
Yeah.
Today we have a guest. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Melissa Terrell, and I work as a tour manager at My Music Taste, which is basically an live events entertainment promoting company. We mainly do Korean entertainment, K-pop, but we do a lot of non-K-pop as well.
Oh, nice. You do non-K-pop as well?
We do, but lately it has been more like K-pop based because we are a Korean based company. But we do a lot. We've done a lot of other like non-K-pop acts as well.
Oh, snap.
Nice. We've run into, or Dre and I will see Melissa when she's touring with the various groups, especially coming through LA or if it's Miami or Atlanta. But we thought it was really cool and opportune for you to come on here today to talk about the live event sort of industry within K-pop, because that's very different than every other person we've interviewed. So thank you for taking the time out to do this.
Thank you.
Of course. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. How long have you been with My Music Taste?
I've started in My Music Taste as an intern in 2018 of October. So it's been almost 2 years now.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
And were you in live touring or that kind of thing beforehand?
No, that was the start of going into live entertainment and just in general, the entertainment industry. I didn't know I would end up in the entertainment industry. It just kind of happened. So I actually graduated college in 2018 and I was just looking for jobs and I didn't want to commit, at least a year to a full-time job without knowing if I wanted to do it. So I was just looking into like internships and entry-level positions, and I somehow just stumbled upon MMT, My Music Taste, on LinkedIn, just like any other person right out of college looking for jobs, and just applied on a whim just for an internship to try it out, and I ended up really liking it, and I hope I'm good at my job. And, it turned out that I was, and I got offered a full-time position.
Wow, that's pretty serendipitous. That's nice.
Yeah, it was super random, and I'm very thankful for it. I never would have thought that I would have ended up in entertainment, and it's still something that I'm learning a lot about, but yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Different paths.
Yeah.
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 Very.
Can you give us an idea of what a tour manager does or what your job entails?
Yeah, of course. So basically what a tour manager is, it's kind of self-explanatory. It's very, we just manage all the tours that we put on. So before putting on a tour, we reach out to artists. And even before reaching out to the artist, if you guys haven't heard of My Music Taste before, it's basically a fan-based company where, we listen to the voices of the fans and they make put in these votes, which is basically called makes, and based off of those numbers and data and statistics, we contact the artists that are wanted in specific areas, and we reach out to them and put on a tour, a concert in those cities. So basically what a tour manager does, what I do is we plan for those tours and concerts. We do hospitality, we work with the management, we plan all of the logistics, the flights, the hotels, the concerts, the production. We do basically everything. But, it's not just one of us on the tour. We do work as a team, and we come on with other tour managers at MMT, production managers, and even the venue management and the venue workers. We all work alongside with them as well.
No, that's crazy. The amount of work. Obviously, you said it's more than one, right? It's not
more
just
than
you
one.
doing all.
I could never. I don't think anyone could, in their right mind, be able to do everything.
I mean, respect, but that's still a lot of work, still. Even though
it is a lot of work, but it's definitely super fun. It's really rewarding, I think. But yeah, basically what we do is just we put on the concerts, we do the tour, and we do travel a lot with it as we move alongside with the management and with the artist.
Yeah, what is specifically, like, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
The most rewarding, I think it's probably just putting on the concert. I think all the hard work and the logistics and the planning, all that time to, make that come true, make that happen. And I think especially for the fans, seeing their reactions, you know, even on like social media when they post like it was like their best time of their lives, like the best concert. Good, yeah. I think that's like the most rewarding, seeing how much, you know, our hard work pays off and it brings so much joy to people. I think that's like the biggest thing that I love about my job.
I feel like one of the cool things, and I feel like the only time or the first time I saw it was with when PLT was in LA, and they had the pre what do you call this, where it's like a pre, almost like for fans who gathered enough make points, you get to come to like have sort of like your personal, very small like fan meet with the artists themselves.
So it all just depends. Each tour is different. Each artist management is different. So it just depends on what they're okay with doing and what, you know, we're able to make happen. We do hold like special events. Sometimes, you know, it's a different purchase. It doesn't come with a ticket, unfortunately. It's just all depends based off of like what we discuss and agree upon with management.
I see.
Yeah, that
see.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, you know, you're saying that you're running around a lot of the time. You have to deal with a lot of like planning and, you know, personalities, I'm sure. What like soft skills do you feel like you need in order to be good at your job being a tour manager?
I think someone needs to, like, if you're going to work in the entertainment industry and as a tour manager, probably just being organized, being able to work under stress, juggle a lot of different factors at the same time, a lot of different things. You know, when you're working on one thing on the day of the concert, things go wrong. Being able to think quickly on your feet, I think those are definitely things that you need as a tour manager, just because so many unexpected things happen on the day of the show and just in general during the tour, whether that be like with fans not knowing where things are, when some of the production lighting tech like doesn't work, just a lot of different aspects. So I think being able to think quick on your feet and, you know, being able to adapt to it is definitely the biggest thing about a tour manager.
Like, for example, like, oh, Dre needs a backstage pass. No.
It's always a joy having you, though. And I think the last time I saw you was, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Seeing all of you guys. And then I see Emily, you all the time in LA. And I think with Dre, probably Ace in Miami.
Oh. Whoa. Yeah.
I think that was the latest one in December.
I mean, most of the time, everybody that I know is like always busy, and I'm just like in my zone. So I
know, and I always feel bad. Like you guys are just chilling, and I want to be able to like say hi and like have a conversation.
No, those are some of the things you have to deal with, like whether unexpected things. When did you realize that you wanted to work in live production? Actually,
I never thought that I would work in live production. Honestly, even in college and, you know, after graduating, I didn't know what I necessarily wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to do something that involved planning, like whether it be like a wedding planning business, which is that's actually what I did, and I still do sometimes. Well, not right now during quarantine.
Is that more hectic?
It depends.
It's similar?
It's different, yeah. I mean, it's similar. A lot of things that you don't expect to happen. But I didn't think I would end up in the industry. But like I mentioned earlier, I just tried it out on a whim as an internship. And it opened my eyes to the business, what it was like, how rewarding it was, how fun it was. So it just kind of happened. And now that's kind of something what I want to continue doing. But I don't know what that's going to look like right now during quarantine season and COVID. But, you know, it's a huge question mark. But I think it's also going to be such a huge, like, transition. I think the live events industry is going to change dramatically. Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll just see in the months to come. But, yeah.
That's a good segue to my next question. But I was wondering, with being a planner, are you like a type A personality where you feel like you need to, like, you have to have everything in order and neat and organized at all times? Or do you need to be like, go with the flow so you can like roll with the punches when things might not go as you plan?
I think me personally, I am type A, as much as I don't want to admit that. But yeah, there are a lot of moments where I'm type A and I would much rather plan everything ahead of time And then, if something goes wrong, the other type of personality of me comes out where I have to figure it out and work with my teammates on that. But yeah, it's a little bit of both, but probably more type A, just because I think you have to go into it with a lot of details to consider, or else there are more unexpected situations that happen.
That makes sense.
So
yeah. Speaking of, when concerts do get back to, I guess Europe is starting to have, sort of a makeshift concerts and things like that.
Yeah.
But what do you, I guess you can't really say if you predict something, but what do you foresee when concerts restart? The kind of precautions that might be put into place. And what are you reading in order to stay up to date on those types of things?
I think for live events, it is, like I mentioned earlier, it's such a huge question mark moving forward. As you mentioned, like Europe is a lot more closer to that, unfortunately, compared to the US, just because the numbers have been increasing like crazy. I think in the future, all the little like precautions that we can take that are, able to be done, whether that be providing sanitizers, social distancing in some sort of way. If it's an arena show, spacing out the seats in the rows, making sure everybody stays seated and it's like an orderly exit, an orderly entrance, not everybody just kind of running up and down whenever they want.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. Like everything is just so up in the air. And it just depends, especially with the size of the shows that, we're putting on as well, whether it be a 500 pax one or, a couple thousand or 100. So it's all different. So I don't really know, but I'm hoping that we can go into concerts and live events soon. But yeah, I don't know when and how that's going to be applied necessarily.
I picture like general admission. Like, I don't know if that's like, will that ever be a thing for the next 3 years or so? Like
the pit? Yeah. I have no idea. And which sucks, like, because I know a lot of fans like love to be in the pit, as crowded as it may be, but to be so close to the artist and, to be able to see them a lot closer. That's something that I know a lot of fans really love. So I feel so bad that may not be able to happen for a while, but.
Or even things like high touches.
Yeah, even high touches.
Yeah, high touches, yeah. Because I remember last time Miami had like Stray Kids for some time, and they had to like test everybody. This is when COVID started, like low key. Yeah. And they started like testing everybody for their temperature, and if you pass that temperature, you can't meet Stray Kids. And I saw so many fans break, like hearts break.
But ultimately for their safety. But yeah, I remember like Stray Kids, and then with MMT we were doing Everglow at the time, and also One Team. So I wasn't on the One Team tour, but because it was going at the same time as Everglow, and unfortunately the last cities for us got canceled. So I felt so bad for the fans. It's not like that we wanted to cancel, but for everybody's safety, the artist's safety, and even the mandates that were established that we can't have the concerts. So even with the high touches, we were trying to be as careful as possible, giving everyone sanitizer before we did the high touch, did it from a distance, spaced out the rows. It's just all these little things that we can try to do.
Personal opinion, I'm kind of glad Pit might not happen anymore because I'm tired of it. I'm retired from pits. It's
I know. It's a lot.
When I was younger, it was an experience, especially if you really love that group. But
I know. It's so rough being in the pit. And even when I see them sometimes, I don't know if they enjoy it all the time. And I question that. But even for like our photographers, because we put them in front of the barricade so they can get the best photos. But even then, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I'm tired of getting pushed by girls all the time. Nah, and guys too, of course. Since we were talking about Europe and everything, what are some key differences between touring in the US, Europe, and South America when it was, when we were all touring at the time? Not now, but.
So unfortunately, I haven't been to Latin America. We were supposed to do some tours, but they got canceled due to COVID. So that is still an area that I have yet to go and tour in. Since I am in the US office, I mainly do US tours. A lot of the Europe tours are done by our Europe office and teammates and members from our Korea office. But I did go to one Europe tour, which was AT's Europe in 2019. So I think the biggest difference is I don't really know what the biggest differences are in terms of like fans, but I think I think just the experience is just different because they are just different like cultures and different people. Like even in Paris, I don't know if you guys have ever been like, you know, to a concert in Paris, but I was so amazed. Like when they cheer, they stomp really loudly and they go wild. Right. They go crazy, and it's like super interesting to see that. Even ATEEZ was like so shocked, and they were talking about it on stage. Like they've never heard it, like their cheers so loud. So I think it's just like the differences in how they do things. Like even like when we're working with production and venue managers and venue workers, I think it's just different. Both sides are hands-on, but it's just putting myself and us into a different culture. So I think it's just unique overall.
Yeah, they do the stomping thing also at soccer games, I believe. And so, like, I believe it's a French thing.
I think so. Yeah, they did it in a few of the, like, countries we were for the Europe tour.
Oh, really?
Like, the whole place was, like, shaking.
I can imagine you're backstage, you're like, what the hell is happening? What is the most exciting thing that you enjoy about touring? Or planning, Yeah, I think touring is, you know, what everyone would think the best part about it is traveling. I know a lot of people might not like it. I mean, there are pros and cons to being a tour manager. You know, it's great being able to travel for work, especially at my age when I'm so young, and a lot of people are like, you know, you're living the dream job, like being able to travel, try new things, explore. But I personally really like it. I'm just always out and about. Like I really like to be out all the time. So that is what I enjoy, trying new things, going to new places. But the con is that I am always on the road. I'm always traveling. Like sometimes there are, like there was a time where I think 2019, I spent almost a little more than half the year away from home just because I was traveling all the time. And each tour is at least about 2 weeks, and sometimes it can go up to like a month. So it's hard, being away from home. But I think, like, with that, your touring family, the management, the artists, even from MMT and from the Korean side, like, we do become a family in some sort of way. Like, you know, we have a lot of memories. I think it's really fun. But, yeah, there's pros and cons to both sides of, like, the job. But I think the best part is probably traveling for me.
Isn't it, like, draining, too? Like...
Yeah. It is, yeah. Like, sometimes, like... things that we can't control, like certain like flights just aren't available, so we had to do a back-to-back show for ATEEZ Europe. So we literally had the concert, flew really early that morning, and then that same day of when we flew in, we have that concert right at night. So we would just go straight to the venue, you know, prep, and then do all the things that we need to do, and then hold the concert. So obviously everyone is exhausted, but yeah, it is draining though. I know a lot of people don't really like traveling just because like going on the plane is really difficult, you know, just sitting for a long time. It is. Yeah. I mean, it is draining, just going out and living out of a suitcase for a while and just not being able to sleep as much. But surprisingly and thankfully, I can run on little sleep. So I think that is a blessing in disguise. So
that is.
Yeah. I would imagine running through like customs in between countries has to be like ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully it wasn't that bad when I went to Europe. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. There weren't that many people, but I'm sure every tour is different, and I think with every artist is probably different. So yeah, it's just the situation, but there are some cons and, you know, draining points about it. But
I see.
Yeah.
What is it like between tours? Do you get to finally sleep?
Between tours, sleep, yes. I do. Thankfully, MMT does give us a break in between tours. Our boss, you know, lets us take a few days off, get adjusted, be back home, chill. Yeah, so thankfully I get to get rest when I come back from tour, and then we'll go back in and wrap up the tour, logistics, things like that. But yeah, when we're not on tour, if it's not back to back, then... yeah, then I get some rest. But there have been times when I didn't have that many days to recollect myself and have to go on tour again. So in those moments, that's rough. Like after Europe tour, I had to go to SF9, and it was I got my days mixed up. So I was trying to fix my jet lag, and then I realized that I'm flying out that same night, so I didn't sleep. So it was like I had to like fly out the same night. Yeah, it's I get so jumbled, but yeah, there are some moments, but yeah, we do get to rest when we're home most of the time.
No, that's good. I feel like I've only done that where I have to fly back to back twice in my life.
That was the first time in my life. So it was ridiculous. It was so hard, but yeah.
No, definitely tired and everything. And I went on a mini tour once for like a smaller K-pop group, and I was like, nah, it's not for me.
Oh,
Okay, I feel like if that was like my thing, I would have to get used to it, and I will. That's just who I am. But after like that was like a test run. I was like, yo, I'm tired. Like,
yeah, and you can tell on everyone's faces, like, dude, like I don't know if I can handle this. Like everyone looks like they're about to break at some point.
How do you pack for tour? Like, how do you, like, if you're going on tour for a month, like, do you just pack for a week and you're just thinking, I'm going to wash my clothes, like, every week? Or how are you packing?
I don't want to admit it, but I am such a girl. Like, I overpack. I don't know about you, Emily, but
Same.
I overpack so much. And even if it's like I'm just going to be backstage and I'm going to be running around, I still take some things. I'm like, oh, I never know, you know?
Yeah.
So it just depends. I do have to look up the weather before I pack. But sometimes if it's like a month-long trip, I don't know how to pack for that because it's like there's so many unpredictable things like weather and things like that. So yeah, just usually if I have a back-to-back tour, I just don't even unpack. I'll just throw a load in the laundry and then I will just pack the same things if that's just the easiest thing. Yeah, I'm just literally living out of a suitcase. So
I feel that like I'll pack things like sometimes I'll be going on like a regular trip where like it doesn't call for like a formal dress, but I'm like, you know, you never know, I might get invited to something and I need a formal dress for this, and then I never wear the dress.
Yeah. Honestly, think those things might happen. Yeah.
What are some like must-haves that you bring on every tour with you besides your clothes?
Toothpaste.
Yeah.
Toothpaste. Yes.
Toothpaste, toothbrush. I do have a lot of skincare. I'm just really big on it, and I think because I travel a lot, it makes my skin really dry, so I just try to take care of it even more when I'm on tour and traveling. So I think like honestly probably half of my suitcase is probably my skincare.
Really?
Everyone that I've shared a room with, they're always so shocked with how much I bring. Yeah. So my number one thing is skincare. And another thing that is a must have for me is, you know, like, not that I'm an idol, but like, you know, idols wear the mask like on the plane in the like in the airport. That is the number one thing that I bring that I'm always checking off first and putting in my bag.
That's good.
Just because, just because it gets so dry, and also just to hide from the cameras of fans. Yeah. When they're at the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many people just taking photos, and I'm always in the background. I'm just like, I can't.
I realized when wearing a mask on a plane while asleep, because when I sleep without a mask, my mouth gets so dry.
Yeah.
And I realized when I wear a mask, I feel a lot better sleeping, even though it's a little struggle.
Wait, so, honestly though, I think everyone, if you're like dead ass tired and you're just on a plane, for sure your mouth is going to open even if you don't sleep with your mouth open. So that is a safety feature of having a mask on the airplane.
Exactly.
So I know obviously, you know, you mentioned it in the beginning, but My Music Taste has a very specific way of having artists come to certain cities or whatever it may be through makes. Can you explain that to people who might not be familiar? Can you explain that process behind a make in making an artist go to various cities?
If anyone goes on the My Music Taste website, you're able to search up certain artists that they want to see live, whether that be in concert or even fan signs. So they can just vote, which is basically putting in a make. And you can also share that link, which is your campaign. It's basically like saying, hey, I want to bring this artist to this city. Can you make my campaign? And it basically adds more makes / votes to your campaign. And then what we do with that is based off of those statistics, off of those makes, we then take those like statistics and numbers, and we see what cities we're able to do concerts and a tour in. So we will provide that data to the artist management and, you know, make an offer, propose going on tour with them, let them know that, you know, these are the numbers of how many fans want to see them live in this city. And from there, we'll just talk about the logistics, and then we'll make it happen, put up together a tour, do settle the tour dates, you know, make the tour happen, plan all of that. And even with the, you know, the fans doing their makes on the campaign on the MMT website, you know, we're thankful for them. Without them, we wouldn't be able to bring them to the city that we know a lot of people want to see them in. So we give our tastemakers, which is basically the fans that are putting in those makes, free concert tickets, the best tier of the concert that we're putting on. And they're able to get free tickets. And it's not just for them, but we also provide one for a friend as well. So nice. I think that's just a thank you for us too, from us, you know, so that they're able to, you know, enjoy what they made true, like, you know, they mate it happen. So that's what we do on our end as well.
So let's say like a fan like really wants want us to come to like Stockbridge, Georgia. Like, would that like, and there are enough fans that said like, let's bring, you know, 20,000 fans were like Stockbridge, not even Atlanta, but like Stockbridge, Georgia. Would that be something to consider, or would it be like I'm sure it would be like because Stockbridge is literally like 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. It'd be like a compromise to just put it in Atlanta, essentially.
I think it would just depend if they have, like, based off of that statistic, that data, if there is a venue there that can, you know, accommodate for the size that we're predicting will come out to the show in that city, then we'll definitely make that happen. We don't want to stick with just the 5 big cities that we do commonly do our tours in. We would love to expand and go to different cities, but it truly is, we are also a business. We do have to make the best decisions for the artist and for our company as well. So, we would love to go to different cities, and if we know that certain amount of fans can go to that city, we'd love to make that happen and, do a bigger tour, do more cities. So it just depends on a lot of factors. If there is a venue that's big enough to accommodate, if we know fans are going to come out there, and even if the numbers are big in one city versus another, or if they're very similar, we can even do a show in both cities, even if it is in the same state. Yeah. So fans can make anything happen. If they can have people make their campaign and let us know that there are fans out there, we can definitely come out.
What do you find to be like the main differences or key differences you see between touring with like Western artists or my music taste working with Western artists compared to Korean artists?
So sadly, when I came into MMT, that was kind of where K-pop really took off. Not in a bad way, but so that didn't allow me to go on a tour for a Western artist. I would probably just say I would imagine it to be pretty different, just because the cultural differences, things that one artist, like a Western artist, would need versus like a Korean artist, just how they do things are different. Some Western artists may not care about doing sound checks, or they're more, they want to put on like a crazy show, want to do and everything fresh and everything super new. So it just depends. I think a lot of things that would be different would probably just be what they personally want, like backstage, or I think it's a lot of different things like that.
See, that makes sense. If you can say, is there an artist that you really would love to work with one day?
No matter the scale.
No matter the scale.
Yeah, no matter the scale.
I think it would be so fun doing an Ariana Grande tour.
Oh, why do you say that?
I don't know. I think she has a lot of different fans, like a huge variety in like fan base, and I think so many people want to collab with her, and make music with her. So I think it'd be really fun. And I haven't been to her concert, but I think especially because she has such a variety of fans culturally too. So I feel like that would be like a crazy worldwide tour, and it would just be fun every city. So I mean, I could say the same thing for like BTS as well. But there are a lot of like artists that I would love to work with, but
I feel like Ariana, like, she has, I remember like last year, she had like the voting booth that was also a part of her like tour. I feel like there's like a lot of installation she probably has like involved, or it seems like she has a lot.
Yeah, I think she had a lot of things like that. I think she even did like a meet and greet as well. So I think there's like so many different factors that like her kind of like her concerts would have too. So
yeah.
What about like concerts? Like, what has been your most memorable concerts and why?
personally would probably be, well, my first concert was when I forgot, I don't even know how old I was Yuna. I don't know if you know Yuna. It was a pretty small venue. That was my first concert ever. But I think other than Yuna, probably Epikai. I saw them in Korea.
Nice.
So I think that was, that was just like a classic for me, just growing up with their music too. And then in terms of work, I would probably say the 80s tour. I mentioned them a few times already, but I think that was just a crazy tour. I think, and they sold out in every city, in the US and in Europe. So I think that was crazy to see how many fans came out to see them, especially when they were only, I think, about like 4 months out of debuting. So it was insane, like seeing the amount of fans that came out and how talented they were. So I think that was probably the most memorable.
That LA date, that first one was like, wow. I was like, wow, I did not expect this.
It was insane.
It was wild. I remember I was waiting to like, I was waiting for the tickets to go down in price. And it was like an hour before the show and they were still like $90, and I was like, oh my goodness, like you would expect it to go like down, but like it was still in such high
and
demand,
they were like super in demand. They were sold out. Like a lot of fans were even like waiting out front trying to get tickets. You know, I would love to bring them in, but it was like so crowded. It was like so it was sold out. So it was an insane tour.
We have two of our interns, Tania and Wendy, who help with the podcast in terms of like social media. But Wendy, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself if you want.
Oh, hello. Right now I don't have any questions. I just love hearing about your experiences. I did wanted to know like what was it like working with ATs, because I really like them as well. How was that experience? Like anything that you saw backstage that inspired you from them, with their personality?
Yeah, with ATs. So like I said, they were fresh out of debuting, like 4 months. So I actually didn't really know their music that well when I was starting to plan for their tour and was on the tour. So during the tours when I really got to listen to their music, and I think ATEEZ is super talented and they are total sweethearts. They're really nice, especially for their age. They're extremely talented, and backstage, you know, I would just see them, you know, practicing really hard, you know, before they're going on to do their show, to do the concert. They're just super caring and they're really fun, you know, like because like they're young too. They really are interested in, like, because I'm Korean, but I'm Korean American. So I think they thought it was really interesting that I can speak English really well and still speak Korean as well. So I think being able to teach them things about like American culture too, when they have a lot of questions, I think it was just really sweet that, you know, they tried to get to know all of the staff and, you know, make memories and have fun with them too, even when they are busy and more tired than any of us. So they're total sweethearts. Yeah.
Thank you.
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
Hi, Melissa. My name is Tania. I'm also part of In My Fields. And I actually had a question. How involved are the artists with the concert? Do they get their own voice and the experience that the fans will experience? Like, for example, BTS. I know last year's tour, RM was doing some hearts with technology and stuff. And I just wanted, you know, wondering, is that something the artist gets a voice to mention, like, hey, can we create this? Or is that something the tour management gets to create?
I think with each artist, it's different. I mean, when it comes to their set that they're going to be playing on tour, I'm sure that's something that the artists discuss with their management as well. But I think MMT, we don't really, at least for me, because I'm in the US, I'm not in Korea for the meetings and all of that. I don't know those specific details, but I'm sure that the artists do have some sort of say and, you know, want to do specific things. And even if they, there are probably some things that they don't plan to do either, and it just kind of happens in the moment. So I'm sure they do get, a sort of say and incorporate their ideas for their tour, especially as they progress in each city and even in each tour. I'm sure they were supposed to have a concert this past April and this past year, but unfortunately with COVID we had to postpone. But I'm sure with that concert they probably would have incorporated their own ideas as well.
That was a good question, Tanya and Wendy. Got good questions. Well, thank you, Melissa, for taking the time out to do this with us.
Of course.
Is there anything that you want people to know about what My Music Taste is doing right now in these times?
MMT, with any live events industry and company right now, we're struggling just as well because we're not able to do live events right now with COVID, but just continue giving support and being patient. We would love to put on live events for you guys, for the fans as well. But with the situation, we care about everyone's safety. So we're trying to implement new things, doing fan signs, doing concerts online, doing things like that. So we're just all trying to navigate through this season, this situation. So just continue to be patient with us and continue to, have expectations for the future, whether they be good or bad. It's all trial and error for all of us as fans and as the promoters. So I think just be very open-minded to it and that we're trying to, continue to give you guys the same experience that you guys would be able to have in person as well.
I hope that we can get back to those live concerts very soon, live in-person concerts soon, as long as everybody just stays safe.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you so much, Melissa, for taking the time out to do this.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes.
This has been In My Feels. I'm JRE.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Melissa.
Thanks for listening.